Please put your hands together for Jeremy Furlong.
Yes. Hello, Calgary. Yes. Thank you guys for coming out. It's a good one. You know, so excited to be here. I wore my best blouse. Yeah, I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to be alive. I nearly was killed. I was trying to cross this crosswalk, and I nearly got struck by a car that just didn't want to let me. The Alberta aggression, you know? And it was one of those rainbow crosswalks, so it could have been a hate crime. Not that I'm gay, but I am willing to pretend for more sympathy. Yeah. You know it was intentional, because this is red on rainbow. That's as high vis as life gets. It was crazy. I reacted, though, you know. I lost my cool. I swore at him. And I just tried to dream up, like, and I said the most aggressive Canadian swear we have. I called him Buddy. Yeah, I'm not proud to say it. Yeah, he's still like, crosswalk, buddy! Keep driving, buddy! Get home safe, buddy! And I know it was a direct hit because he flipped me the bird. Yeah. Yeah, he was so angry that after nearly killing me, he's upset at me. Like, what was he thinking? Like, that pedestrian nearly made me a murderer! Ah! The nerve. But I didn't let him win. I always got to win. So when he flipped me off, I had to one-up him. So I decided to devastate him. And I just blew him a kiss. Just so he drove home with some questions that night. Did I nearly kill a guy, or did I just fall in love? I gotta slow down. I have a brother, and he's the exact physical opposite of me. Total fatso. It's actually not true. He's actually a long-distance runner. Yeah, he runs for fun. You can do that. I don't even run to the bathroom. If it happens, it happens. God's will, right? But we have a sibling rivalry, but he's way more athletic, so we gotta compete in different ways. Like, for instance, in high school, he set the provincial record in the 1,500 meters. He beat it by 4 seconds, and I beat the 5-second rule by 3 seconds. It's pretty impressive. He was getting scholarship offers for fancy schools in the States, and at those very same schools, I was getting offered trespassing. You know, probably the biggest difference is that he would go for runs twice a day, and I had the runs 3 times a day. So I won. Yeah, well, we were living together, and even though we didn't look anything alike, somehow people still got us confused. I was getting out of my car one day and had neighbors say, "Hey, how was the track meet?" I don't know, delicious? Like all meats? Stupid question, bro. But I correct him. You're confused with my brother Mark. He's the guy that ran by your house this morning. I'm Jeremy. I'm the guy that threw up on your lawn last night. We were both sweating, so I can see how you got us confused. You just look at my brother and think long distance runner, but you look at me and think don't air. Because I'm a sweaty, spicy piece of meat. pretty popular with the ladies at about 4 a.m. Just greasy enough, they say. It's okay, it's consensual. I make them pay me first. Before comedy, I got a job working on the oil drilling rigs, because also before comedy, I got a degree in Canadian studies. That's how I had to pay for it, by destroying Canada. But I had studied Canada, so I knew where all the soft spots were. Yeah, I didn't fit in with the oil rigger stereotype. I don't know if you're familiar with this stereotype, but I can catch you up pretty quick. Just imagine someone that's dropped out of high school that makes more money than you. And I say makes more money because they do not have more money. They spend that immediately. They got like 2 trucks, a skidoo, a boat, a skidoo inside the boat. It's like a financial turducken. Made out of monthly payments. I don't want to slam them too hard. They have nice things. They have nice shirts. They just don't have sleeves. They're very competitive. You know, they're even competitive about their divorces. It's like, oh, you see your kids every second weekend. I haven't seen my kids in 6 years. Probably the biggest difference is that they're very good at their job, but they're very bad at geography. You know, you give them a map of Europe, they're just very confused. Like, Germany? Why would you ever want to go there? That sounds almost as bad as Bosnia. Hurts to get it in you. Sounds uncomfortable. And Hungary, I'll save you the trip. There's plenty to eat right here in Canada. It's called Regina. It's crazy. It's like they get paid in trucks. You know, that's why tax season is so difficult for them. You know, handing over their papers to their accountant. It's like, it's just a picture with 4 trucks drawn on it. Yeah, pretty good year. Worked real hard. I didn't fit in. I'm a sensitive guy. I even have sensitive skin. And you have to work outside, so I would get sunburned and they would make fun of me. They're like, red hair, red skin, ginger, ginger. It's not really clever, it's just kind of hurtful. How am I going to fit in with these animals? I'm like, I decided, I was going to tattoo, right? Of like a extra large long sleeve t-shirt. Engineer out the problem. Then I thought about it a bit longer. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. Because if I ever lost a lot of weight, it'd be really frustrating because I wouldn't be able to roll up the sleeves. Like, it's a very permanent decision. Or more realistically, if I ever gained a lot of weight, I look really stupid with my belly hanging out underneath my tattoo. Like, it fit when I bought it. Hopefully this sparkly dragon doesn't go out of style. I got on a pretty good crew. They took me in. They even gave me a nickname. They called me Mr. Cinnamon because I'm red and kind of effeminate, apparently. They had a nickname for my roughneck. They called him Rails. Because obviously, he really liked carpentry. He would stay up all night building with his long-haired friends. But he was a good guy. I learned a lot, you know. I had to pay off those student loans. So I confided in him and I asked him questions. He always answered me. I'm like, yo, Rails, what do I got to do to make it out here? And he was just like, yeah, you just got to give her. You just got to work hard. It's not pocket scientist. You're right. That isn't a thing. Unless he's trying to say calculator. But he said it with such confidence. I was like, yeah, it isn't pocket scientist. I can do this. I just gotta work hard. I learned a lot working on the rigs. Things that you wouldn't learn in a typical office environment, like what a BOP stack is, what a top drive does, or the differences between a Danielle and an Ashley. Blonde highlights and a divorce. You gotta watch out for Ashleys. They're expensive. Rails did the research on that one. Cost him a house and a boat. But when you work the rigs, you're always on the road, you're always traveling. And even though you make a lot of money, you stay in really suspect motels. And I was in this one kind of grimy motel having a shower, and I noticed a crack in the ceiling, and I thought I could see a camera recording me as I showered. Finally, my big break. Just for laughs, gags. The gag? Black mold. Oh, I don't know. I could be a cam girl now, Mr. Cinnamon presents shampoo. But when you work on the rigs, you work with a lot of crazy chemicals. You don't know exactly what they do. And then, after the first couple months, I had lost 30 pounds. And I was getting out of the shower, and I noticed a hard lump on my side. And I'm like, oh no! So on my days off, I went to go to a doctor to find out what it was. And then when I showed it to him, he looked me in the eyes and he said, "Jeremy, those are just your ribs. They go that far down. You're telling me I've been delicious this whole time." Could I get a prescription for some barbecue sauce? He's like, "Jeremy, you should be joking. This is very serious. That's a lot of weight to lose in such a small time." And I'm like, "Oh, it's because I've been working the rigs. It's very physical work." He's like, then he got really excited. He's like, "You work the rigs? My nephew's about to start working the rigs. Do you have any advice?" I'm like, "Yeah, you just gotta give her. Just gotta work hard. It's not pocket scientist." Also, after working the rigs, I decided to give back to the community and become a youth worker in a Métis community. I don't know if you guys can tell this, but I come from not a Métis community. Not a lot of indigenous people have a favorite sunscreen. Copper tone sport, I'm never going to a sun dance. That sounds terrifying. I'm not a sun dancer. I'm more of a moon rester kind of guy. You're never gonna see me buy a native pride hat. I'm gonna use my Petro points. It was a good job. I was working sports and recreation with youth, and it was really remote, really far up north. It was so far up north that one time I got this phone call. I was like, "Jeremy, don't let the kids walk home after activities. There's a pack of wolves roaming town." That's something that nobody wants to hear. A stranger telling you how to do your job? It's like, lady, kids love wolves. They make every activity more exciting. Like hide and go seek with consequences. Red light, green light, wolf bite. Hold on. Or my personal favorite, Simon Says, "Run for your lives!" Yeah, I became an unofficial spokesperson for the Métis Nation. I should say underqualified spokesperson. Like, I knew a little bit about the culture, but not enough. But I got asked all these kind of questions from my friends back home, like, "Have they given you an Indian name?" I'm like, God, that's so ignorant. That's a tokenization of their culture. No, they've just given me an insulting nickname like everybody else. Jeremy sleeps till noon, Or Janine if they saw me play basketball. 8-year-olds can be so cruel. But part of the job was like building confidence in youth with sports and activities. And I remember there's one really shy girl, after about 2 months, she finally had the courage to come forward and talk to me after activity. And she came up to me, she's like, "Hey, Jeremy, do you want to know a fact?" And I'm trying to, encourage her. I'm like, "Absolutely, Haley. What's the fact?" "You stink. It's a fact." All right, okay, this is testing my professionalism. There's no manual as a youth worker, but I think uppercut is not an option. So I'm like, okay, it's a teachable moment. I'm like, "Haley, when you say something like that, it makes me not want to be here." She goes, "I know. It's because you want to be at McDonald's." Did I just start like a roast battle with a child? It's not something you can win. That's like a Kobayashi Maru. I try to shut her down. I'm like, and she hurt my feelings, so I kind of reacted. I'm like, "Well, you're bad at sports because you have bad eye-hand coordination." I'm not, what am I supposed to say? And then she said, "Well, you've got really good eye-hand coordination. That's why the food gets to your mouth." It's a toxic work environment. Yeah, that's what I realized. I was getting bullied by kids, so I had to quit. Because I got fired, stopped cheering for the kids, started cheering for the wolves. Yeah, I'm a single man. I'm out there on the dating scene. I like first dates because you never know what you're getting into. It can go either way, right? You're learning about each other. But I like about online dating, you can meet strangers. So I was on this one first date, and it was going pretty good. Like, I was talking to her, and she was responding. So pretty sick, right? I'm smelling something long term, right? And at the end of the date, it was going really well. As I dropped her off in a car, I decided to lean in and give her a little smoocheroonie. And then she did something, and there's no polite way to say this, but she farted. Yeah. And it was a fart. It wasn't a polite toot. It was a full-on fart. Like, her knees buckled a little bit. Like, rah, rah. It sounded like a German Oompa band. Oompa, ba, oompa, ba. I was caught like a deer in the headlights. I was just like watching the entire chemistry of the date just evaporate like a balloon that got let go too early. Like, but I didn't want her to feel bad. I mean, we're all human. Things happen like this. So I said, "Hey, don't worry about it. People fart all the time." And then she said, "Oh no, I just didn't want to kiss you." Wait, so you're not gross, I'm gross? This is so much worse. I guess fart 'em if you got 'em. Who let the farts out? You. So I just let her go. I'm like, it's online dating, never have to hear from her again. But lo and behold, I get a phone call, 1:30 a.m., Saturday night. We all know what that late night phone call means, right? Yeah, car troubles. She's broke down out of town. She's calling me for help. I'm like, "What's the problem?" She's like, "Well, I ran out of gas." "Well, you had more than enough last week." That track is called Justice. So I'm trying to change my image, trying to be more attractive to women, trying to change my image. Because right now my image says, "Guy with strong opinions about modems." And the worst part is that it's true. I actually do. Gotta have 7 blinking lights, you know? So I gotta change my image, trying to think like, what do women like? They like the bad boy. So I've decided to become the ultimate bad boy. Child murderer. But don't worry. I'm gonna do it the most ethical way possible. Through an aggressive anti-vaccination campaign. I'm not a psychopath murdering kids. I'm a natural path. Doing nothing. But yeah, my image change is going pretty good. I'm already getting harassed by the police because I'm a bad boy. That's true, it's true. Because I got a ticket for jaywalking. Yeah, I didn't even know what jaywalking was. I had to Google it. Turns out jay is just an old-timey word for idiot. So I got a ticket for idiot walking. Not even mad. That's just an accurate description of what I was doing. Illegally crossing the street in front of a marked police car. That's idiot walking, right? If anything, I think it should expand the program, put more things under it, right? Like you see a guy wearing shorts on a cold day walking around, jaywalking. Or a guy with like sunglasses at night vaping, jaywalking. Or you've seen a lady pushing like a $500 stroller and tight little Lulus, and in that stroller is a dog, jaywalking. So I'm on the side of the road, and the cops have their cherries on, and they're like harassing me. And I'm trying to wrap this up as soon as possible, but it's taken way too long. And then some drunk idiot runs by and he goes like, "Hey, are you getting arrested for jaywalking?" And then I respond, because I'm also a drunk idiot, "Not if I don't decide to escalate things." Which got a very mixed reaction from my audience of 2 police officers. The female portion of the audience, she kind of gives like cracked up like, "Oh, who's this little rascal?" But the male officer, he got really aggressive. He's like, "Hey, do you think jaywalking's a joke? Have you ever seen someone get hit by a car?" I said, "Oh, I'm gonna have to be honest here. Yeah. On YouTube, a lot. It's like my favorite video to watch. That's why I always look both ways before I jaywalk. I'm a bad boy, not an idiot." Yeah. So the female officer's like, "Oh, you should be a comedian." I'm like, "Well, actually I am." And this is like the TSN turning point of the night, because she all of a sudden got turned beet red and started flirting with me, like gushing hard. She's like, "Oh my God, I love comedy. I love comedians. Does people ever tell you look like Seth Rogen?" Only when they want to sleep with me. You know, I don't know how you're supposed to hit on the police, you know, it's different skill set. Like, what do you say? Like, "So, do you patrol here often? Maybe I should give you a ticket for driving without my phone number." So I was laying the charm on her. She was really enjoying it, but the male cop got more and more aggressive, started trying to kill the vibe. You know, he was cop blocking me. So he had to be a Debbie Downer. He's like, "Oh yeah, you think this is funny? What are you gonna think about this when I give you a ticket?" I'm like, "Well, that's gonna be good because I'm a visual learner." Could have slapped that right up on the fridge. And every time I walk by it, I'll remember not to pay it. It's like, oh yeah, this ticket's gonna cost you. Did you think about that? And I had not. I'm a bad boy, but I'm a bad boy on a budget. So I was prepared for the worst. I'm like, yeah, well, how much is this ticket gonna cost me? He's like, yeah, this ticket is gonna cost you $25. No! 25 whole Canadian dollars. Oh, this changes everything. I was gonna have nachos later this week. That's out the window. Gonna have to get a second mortgage on my tree fort. $25. I got $25. I made it last week. Thanks, crypto. He's like, I don't like your attitude. I'm like, but this is the best attitude you can have in this situation. I know you're just doing your job. I could crack a couple jokes, we could share a couple laughs, and then you don't even have to write me the ticket. What do you think about that? He says, I think you're definitely getting this ticket. I'm like, oh. So I grab the ticket, and as I'm walking away, I can feel the female cop's laser eyes shooting back at me. So I decide to re-engage. So I came back, I'm like, hey, I got a show coming up. It's like May 20th. Do you want to come check it out? She's like, oh, absolutely, I would love to. Where is it? I'm like, is that the laugh shop? I can bring my partner. I'm like, don't bring him. She's like, yeah, I know, I would never go out in public with him. Like, well, how much is it to get in? I'm like, oh, you're gonna love this. Tickets are $25. And we've been dating for 3 years. And by dating, I mean I just get jaywalking tickets and I see her in court, but through Zoom, we're making it work. I got invited out on a hiking date, and I said yes because I'm chasing biscuit. You gotta risk it for the biscuit. That risk, cardiac arrest. Yeah, a hiking date for a first date is the wrong thing to do. Like, what are you learning about your date? What they sound like when they're being asphyxiated with a plastic bag? That's not first date information. That's more of a wedding anniversary kind of thing. A hiking date is the opposite of Netflix and chill. It's more like heat stroke and vomit. She had suggested a 9K hike. 9K. Call me old-fashioned. But I don't think a first date should involve role-playing fleeing a war-torn country. 9K. The closest thing I'd ever done is a 5K river float. And I didn't even finish that. I fell asleep after the first K, exhausted. But don't worry. To sweeten the deal, this date starts at 5 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Because that's how you want to spend your weekend, by going to bed at 3 p.m. on a Friday night. So she picked me up. We decided to take her car because it existed. And, and we're driving into the mountains. We get to like the trailhead, and then she starts like rooting through her bag like a sexy squirrel. You know? Or like a regular squirrel. You know? And then she looks at me all panicked-like. She's like, did you bring the bear spray? Bear spray? I didn't even bring a lunch. What makes you think I have bear spray? Yeah, the bear spray is right beside my elephant gun and my butterfly knives and the mouse traps and all my other animal-related weaponry in my apartment downtown. Bear spray. I had no idea what it was. To me, it sounded like a cologne they advertised for at the UFC, you know? Like, hi, I'm UFC champion Johnny Uppercuts. And when I go to the bar, I wear bear spray. So women know that I am a dangerous animal that likes garbage. To apply, spray directly into my eyes. So we start on this hike, and this hike was breathtaking. I mean, literally, every 30 meters I had to stop and pretend to take pictures because I was out of breath. This hike was up the whole way. And you meet a lot of different types of people on the trails when you're hiking. And I didn't expect these people. The first group I saw were the elderly, who are super good at hiking. They're like wrinkly little billy goats, clip-clopping up the trail. I couldn't figure it. I thought about it for a while. I'm like, how are they so good at hiking? And then I figured out, university education. Like, oh, it's because there's less gravity for old people because God is pulling them to heaven. We're hiking to salvation. Let's go. Don't look back. And the other group you run into all the time isn't as cool as the elderly. They're shirtless hiker bros. They're in packs of like 6. They all have a Bluetooth speaker pumping out the crappiest music you've ever heard, just ruining your time. It's like, buddy, if you can't put it in your ears, it sucks and you suck more. Oh, it's scaring away the wildlife. Like, no, it's not. It's just making them angrier. I'm out in the mountains. I don't want to hear your crap music. I want to hear the sights and sounds of nature. I want to hear other people struggling to do this hike. I want to hear wheezing, not wheezer. Turn off your music. Stop having fun. This is a hike. So we were hiking for about 3.5 hours, and that's when I realized there's no progress signs on hikes. Are they just worried about giving you too much hope? Can you imagine that coming across a progress sign? It's like, oh, what does it say? It says we are still in the parking lot. So after 3.5 hours, I finally broke down and I asked her, like, how far have we gone? Like, she's like, oh, we've gone 7. 7? How's that possible? Like, the whole hike is 9, unless there's like a secret water slide at the top you forgot to tell me about. Then all of a sudden, pretty excited about this hike. She's like, no, silly. The hike to the summit is 9K. The whole hike is double that. This isn't a hike. This is a hate crime. Attempted mountain slaughter. This is an 18-kilometer death march. 18 kilometers. That's even too long for a water slide. The risk for critical chafing is too high. So I just stared into her eyes, kind of dumbfounded, and she picked up on the tension. She's like, do you think you could handle the 1K scramble to the top? You're in luck. I love scrambles. They're my favorite menu item at brunch. And a scramble, much like a mountain hike, you use your hands if you like throwing up afterwards. So 2 more hours, we finally make it to the summit. And we're up there top, drinking in that beautiful 365 degree, 65? 300, math is my weekend. Had to get your protractor out for that one. So we're drinking up the beautiful panoramic, the beautiful Alberta Canadian Rockies, and I can finally say that view, Not worth it. Oh my God. It's all over social media. I didn't even get up early on a weekend. I could have slept in and photoshopped a hotter chick in the photo. And I would have photoshopped a hotter dude, just so I had a photo I wanted to look at more. So we're up there for almost 15 minutes before she decided, like, oh, it's time for us to go down before it gets too dark. I'm like, yeah, this hike wasn't dangerous enough. But this is how much of a rookie I am. I thought going down would be the easy part. No. Going down, you're using all the same muscles, but in reverse. And so every step is like you're a baby learning for the first time. To make it worse, there's gravity trying to push you off to your death at every step, so every step is for your life, and you're filling up with lactic acid from your tits to your toes. It would have hurt less if I just crawled to a little ball and she kicked me down like, get, fatty, get. The descent took 3 hours. So 8.5 hours later, we get back to her car. I immediately fall asleep. My favorite part of the hike, actually. We wake up outside of my apartment, and she's just like, oh my God, I had so much fun today. Do you want to do it again? I can't barely move my legs. My feet are covered in blisters. So I had to be honest with her. I looked into her bright, beautiful blue eyes, and I said, yeah, hell yeah. I'll bring the bear spray. You can bring the elephant gun and shoot me in the face. Yeah, I think as you get older, birthdays start to suck just because the presents get worse. I don't know if you guys experienced this in your life, but this year for my birthday, I got a 2-kilogram bag of almonds. That's a terrible gift from a terrible friend. And they were excited about it. They're like, yeah. Like, I don't know if you guys know what a 2-kilogram bag of almonds looks like, but it looks like a way less delicious quantity of 2 kilograms of chocolate-covered almonds. To be honest, I had never seen them without chocolate. I had been eating them like olives the whole time. Like, sucking off the chocolate and spit out the hard, crunchy shit in the middle, like, pya, pya, pya. 2 kilograms of almond pits. You're a terrible friend. What am I gonna do with these almond pits? Like, oh, you can make marzipan. No, I could not. And even if I could, I don't think anyone's gonna want to eat my marzipan. Doesn't sound right, you know? So I'm stuck with all these almond pits. I gotta figure out ways to get rid of them. But I'm a thinking guy. I'm like, I know what we'll do. We'll play eating games. For those who don't know, it's like drinking games, but instead of drinking all my alcohol, you just eat all my almonds. Jeremy, that's a stupid idea. Oh, you said my name. 5 almonds. You're a fat idiot. Oh, you hurt my feelings. That's 10 almonds. They're flying off the shelf. But I think we could mix it up. Maybe watch a hockey game. Every time someone scores a goal, you eat an almond. A close game, 5-4. That's 9 almonds. That's your daily recommended dose of vitamin almond. We could probably mix it up a bit more. Maybe watch some basketball. A close game, 110 to 111. That's 221 almonds. Or 3 times your daily recommended dose for diarrhea. Jeremy, what are you doing in there? Leave me alone. I'm Marzipan. I'm a bit of a foodie, but I'm a simple guy, you know? I like my food simple. I don't know what's happening if you guys have been to a donut shop recently, but they've become fancified. They've become these incredible things. Like, now when you go into a fancy bakery, like, you need to know 2 languages to order your donut. Like, I went into one, and I followed the donut I wanted. I'm like, yeah, I'll get the creamy brulee, please. He corrected me. He's like, actually, it's pronounced crème brûlée. Yeah, don't want that one no more. A little too condescending for my tastes. But now that I know this whole menu's in French, I can whip out my grade 9 Alberta French, and I'll confidently order the Hune Croulier, please. That's just a honey crawler. I'm like, Picklade! And fancy donuts are expensive. Like a dozen fancy donuts is more expensive than a dozen flowers. But you can't get a dozen honey glazed for your honey bun. You're gonna look like a jerk, especially when 8 of them are missing. I've done the research. Jeremy Furlong, love scientist. How many more donut jokes are there gonna be? About a dozen. I'm sick and tired of these bougie bakeries. They all have these like elaborate pun-based names like Namas Glazed. And they're in the back doing yoga, mixing the dough with their feet and crystals. You're like, and every baker's like got this crazy backstory, like our head baker, she dropped out of university to follow her 2 passions in life: disappointing her parents and ripping people off. We've got fancy donuts every month. This month, the Icelandic eclair, made out of 100% real feelings. And ethically sourced butterscotch. Our motto, we fill our donuts and our community with love. Namas glazed. I don't want to eat there. The baker that I want to go to is going to be called Sugar Dumps. And they only serve chocolate donuts. Head baker, haven't seen him in days. Went for a smoke break and never came back. Could be dead or in jail. And fancy donuts, we don't even wash our hands. Cash only. Our motto, our holes fill your holes. That concludes the donut portion of the show. So I'm a man of convenience. I'm on the road a lot, so I have to use drive-thrus. I think drive-thrus are great, but it's frustrating when you have to make the order. That little voice box, it always goes awry. It doesn't matter. You say something so simple and so clear, just like burger and fries, and they come back with like 17 apple pies. Like, no, that's like 4 too many. So you gotta enunciate and say it slower, like burger and fries. It's like, yeah, I got it the first time, vigorous exercise. No, I don't want that. It's like, you should probably get into that after eating all those apple pies. But I was out east, and I was like going through a drive-thru, and I wanted to get a donut, but we all know that those are very complicated menus these days. So I just went with the basic donut. I just ordered a chocolate Long John. And then there was a 5-second pause, and then a very confused, very old lady replying, "What's a Long John?" And I wanted to get mad, but she's an old lady. You can't get mad at the elderly. They were our future. So maybe she knows it's just kind of locked in the cobwebs. Maybe her brain went stale, smoothed out. To kind of jog it up for her. I'm like, yeah, do you have any donuts back there that look like a lengthy square? Or like a chocolate-covered gold bullion? You have maybe something a little bit more visceral. Yeah, you got any donuts back there that look like a big old bread dink? The Dong John? The big chocolate one everyone's curious about but doesn't want to talk about? I did not say that. I just immediately got filled with anxiety and changed my order. I was just like, I'll have any chocolate donut you have. She's like, well, which one? We have 3. We have chocolate dip, chocolate glazed, and 1 tall Jonathan. Well, Since you don't have a long john, I guess your tall Jonathan will have to do. That's how old this lady was. She knew Long John by his formal name. Tall Jonathan. I've been doing comedy a while, and I really enjoy going out and doing the road. I'm glad that's back now. I think one of my favorite road gigs was in a small coal mining town in Interior BC, which was when I first started out. And I was really nervous about it because it was like a small coal mining town. But the show was great. Then after the show, I got to see one of the coolest things I'd ever seen in a bar before. Chick fight. But it was a small coal mining town, so the chicks were huge, right? To give you an idea of the size of these girls, one of them was slightly larger than the average Alberta girl. And then the other girl was slightly larger than the average bear. Hey, boo-boo. You're probably asking yourself, there's all kinds of bears, Jeremy, like black bears, grizzly bears, koala bears, gummy bears. There's a big variance in size, so maybe that's not a good comparison. Imagine like a refrigerator with angry arms and a coal sore. And she is squaring off against a much larger refrigerator with angrier arms and 2 coal sores. Ah! Okay, that's 2 refrigerators. That might be confusing. Okay. Forget the refrigerators. The best way to keep these 2 ladies apart in your mind is just know that the biggest one had peed her pants. Yeah, only true part of the story, actually. I was talking to the guy who booked the gig before the show, and he's like, hey, Jeremy, I bet you $5 she pisses her pants tonight. I was like, that's not normal. Then I thought, oh, it's because the show's so funny, she's going to laugh so hard, she's going to pee herself. He's like, no, every time she drinks, she pisses herself. Look. And I looked, and I could see it on the back of her jeans, the soggy rainbow of shame. A shamebow, if you will. And it was only like 9:30. That chick knows how to party, right? I found out what the fight was over. Turns out the fight was over a dude. Yeah. So the first girl's chatting to a guy, chitty chat. She leaves to go to the bathroom. Pissy Pants moves in. She'd already gone to the bathroom. Well, the other girl sees Pissy Pants grind on her man, and it's on like Donkey Kong. They start rushing together in slow motion. I hear their battle cries. Bitch, sloot, whore. Pissy Pants starts rodeoing up a super shitty punch. The other girl, Kung Fu Master, catches the punch and returns fire. Pop, 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 pop. 4 punches right on Pissy Pants' kisser. Thud, 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 thud. She's teetering, she's tottering. Is she gonna fall over? No, she pops back up. She starts lurching forward like a Japanese mega monster. Meow, meow, meow. I know that's not a monster sound, but I can't do a monster, but I got a pretty good cat, right? Meow, meow. This is the most epic chick fight in the history of chick fights. I should know, I'm an expert, I've been in 3. This is like David versus Goliath. This is like Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. This is like a chick that's pissed her pants. Beating up another chick who hasn't pissed her pants. Well, before the much larger opponent could crush the smaller girl, 2 bartender guardian angels floated in. The first one politely grabs Pissy Pants around the ankles. The second one clotheslines her high. Lays her out. And the bartenders start dragging her away. And she's leaving a wet streak behind her like a Zamboni. That's not even the best part of the story. With all that commotion, no one noticed that I had also pissed my pants. Yeah, so I'm trying to think, it's important to have a message with your comedy, and my message with my comedy is death comes for us all, so enjoy the show. Could be your last. Unfortunately, I've experienced some unexpected loss, and it's always tough when you lose someone that's close to you unexpectedly. You're always asking yourself the same questions, like, why? Why them? Why not someone from my list? It's in ascending order. Is Santa not getting my letters? And my friend passed away in his sleep, and a lot of people say that's the best way to go. Not in my opinion. I think the best way to go is drowning in fudge. That way they could always say, Jeremy died doing what he loved, fudge packing. Yeah, there's... What do you mean nasty? I'm just working at a fudge factory, you freak. Just drowning in mountains of fudge. I don't know what's going on in your mind. But I like it. But yeah, there's when people pass away, there's kind of two main areas. People either go to like a cemetery or a crematorium. I think we need to change the word crematorium because that does not sound like what it is. Crematorium does not sound where you burn bodies. It sounds like a failing ice cream shop. Welcome to the crematorium! All of our flavors are black licorice. Pro tip, don't get the sprinkles. I think the Vikings had the best tradition. What they would do is take the deceased, put them on a boat with all their valuables, all their worldly possessions, set it on fire, and push it out to sea. It actually serves as the inspiration for Alberta's economic policy as well. Snuck a political one in there. And when things are changing, Canada's actually a pioneer in cryogenic cremation. It's where they freeze bodies down to a negative 96 degrees, and it breaks the body down through that with liquid nitrogen. So you could do that in one of 3 facilities in Toronto, or you could just go to Winnipeg in the summer. And doing that is actually more friendly for the environment. It's more green, less emissions, and also you get 100% of the remains back as opposed to traditional cremation. Because that was the problem with cremation. Not enough dust. But actually, the most exciting one is now, there's actually a way, if you get cremated, you can get your ashes pressed into a vinyl record. And then in that record, you can leave songs for your friends to listen to while you're gone, or you can even leave a message. Maybe something like, hello, this is Jeremy from beyond the grave. I died, probably in that tragic fudge packing accident. I just want to let you know to live your life, start smoking, drive fast, and don't wear a seatbelt. See you soon. And I want to thank you for being a friend. Traveling down that road and back again. Yeah.
At this point, you're probably expecting to hear a beautiful rendition of the theme to the Golden Girls. Unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that ain't happening because of a little thing called copyright law, and that I didn't license the music, so it would be very illegal for me to show that part of the clip. But instead, I'm going to show you a picture of a really cool donut with a sword. So I think you come out ahead in this situation. Bon appetit.
Thank you for being a friend.
Oregato gozaimasu.